Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to QBSN, the podcast, episode 19. We got some big news today, not to break, but breaking news nonetheless. I am so honored to be here with Zach Stokinger and Spencer Decker. Zach is a Q30 rugby beat reporter. The news we're breaking today,
developing story, you could say.
Developing story. Spencer was also a beat reporter 2 years ago for rugby.
Former
beat reporter. Yeah. I guess both of you are technically former beat reporters.
Yeah, I mean, unless Q30 transitions to club coverage, I'm out of a job.
So Quinnipiac University has demoted rugby from Division-I to club status and will replace it with a men's long-distance running program. Quinnipiac Athletics states the initiative aligns institutional resources with long-term competitive priorities, fiscal sustainability, and the university's ongoing commitment to Title IX compliance. So, first, I just want to hear your guys' reactions to this. What went through your mind when you saw it?
Well, when I went through what I went through when I initially saw it, after the just initial shock, they were really gonna do this, is just it felt like a business decision, which is weird because rugby is one of the more easier sports to provide for. You really only need a field and all that stuff, but the general upkeep of the field is down to facilities cost, and then you just need jerseys and balls and maybe a couple dummies. That's significantly less than soccer. They need the training. Baseball specifically, you need bats, gloves, baseballs. You need helmets. You need maybe all the protective gear. So it was a weird cut for a Tuesday, but if it was going to be one of the teams to get cut, it probably would have been on the short list, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, my initial reaction, I was actually happy when Amshmeem texted me, saying that there might be a men's track team, but then I found out the bad news about this is that there's going to be no rugby team, which, I mean, when you look at this just in the past couple of years of what Quinnipiac rugby has gained and how much fame they have gained over the last couple of years with the Olympics and Alona Maher, and then to cut the program, I just think it was kind of crazy for them to do that. You had such a buildup of Quinnipiac rugby, and yes, maybe the team was not performing as they usually were, but I think you could say in the last couple of years, Zach, that they actually have played better than they had through the 2019-2021 era, where I don't even think they made the playoffs in 2021, and yes, they haven't made the playoffs the past couple of years. But at the same time, this was still a competitive team. It was still a top team in the NIRA. You could say it was probably a top half team. And if you're competing in the middle of the pack, then I don't know why you should be cutting that program. And just to touch on the men's thing, yes, it's cool to have the men's team, but if based off the press release, what it is, it's going to be a men's distance team. So essentially, there's no field events, which the women have at Quinnipiac. They have track and field. They have field events. Right. And if you're going to add track as well, if it's just a men's distance program, there's no sprinters. So you're going to have basically a club running program, which I'm a part of, and our club running team has sprinters. So you're going to add a Division I program that a club running team has more options than what the men's Division I team would have for the track. So I find that absurd.
It's kind of just an extension of the cross country team. I think that's another reason why I could see this, the thought process thinking this out. They already have a men's cross country team here, so they have maybe 80% of their runners for the spring season already there. If they want their men's cross country team to continue to get better, I think they've been better than recent years. Last year they had a pretty good year last year, right, Spence?
Yeah, I mean, cross country is built up in the last couple of years. The problem about the MAC is that I could be wrong about the number, but I believe the Iona Gales have won 36 straight MAC cross country championships. So it's in the 30s, and it's an NCAA record for the most consecutive titles. So they're never going to win the MAC championship as long as the Iona Gales are in the conference and don't get some Big Ten realignment or something like that. Right, yeah. But they certainly built up. Dave Scribbins has come in as a head coach and kind of built the program up after a couple years of a free fall. When they were kind of in the 2017 era, in that middle of the 2010s, they had a really good program. They were kind of the top in New England. And ever since then, it's kind of fallen off. But Dave Scribbins has got the program back, assuming he would take over head coaching duties of this men's distance team, if they want to call it. But if you're going to have a men's distance team, that's the 800, the 1600, and the 3200, which is half a mile, 2 miles, and maybe a 4x8 relay. That's 4 events. So why is there even a program in the first place?
That's what I was going to ask. Is can they even compete?
No,
they can compete, but
they're not going to be on the
win.
MAC website. Like they don't have a team.
Right.
Like that's not a track and field team. That's a distance. It's
a weird
It feels like an intramural situation more than a Division I program.
Yeah.
And I don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like a foundational thing because like they're taking what they already have and moving it towards getting to a track team. But I think another thing that's kind of getting lost is the shifting dynamics of the university. When me and Spencer were applying to come to this school, it was a 70-30 school. And over the past 3 years, the business side of Quinnipiac has really grown. So we've seen a lot of dynamics, and now it's a 60-40 split compared to a 70-30 split when we got here. So, I mean, having twice as many women's teams as men's teams, it's not needed because it's not really in line with Title IX because Title IX, I think the main thing is obviously gender equality and equity in participation in athletics and sports.
Right.
But also you have to align with your school's outlook. And I think like when you run into like the bigger state schools, like they have football, but like when we're here, you have to kind of adhere to that strictly. And if the school's if the school is leaning more towards 50-50, your sports have to reflect that. So,
yeah, I can see that. I think another thing with Quinnipiac is all the men's sports are interchangeable with men's and women's teams.
That's
Baseball, basketball, cross country, ice hockey, lacrosse, soccer, tennis. They all have men's and women's teams. Whereas the women's sports, there's acro, there's field hockey. Those two alone, you really can't have. You don't have a men's team. And then, there's other sports like rugby, volleyball, golf that could have the men's side but don't.
Yeah.
So my question is,
I could be wrong. I think Quinnipiac is the only team in the MAC that doesn't have a men's golf program. I think every other team does.
right. So why is it? I guess my question is why cut rugby? Was rugby the right choice? Was rugby the right sport to cut on the women's side, or is there another place athletics could have gone?
Spencer, you're really not going to like my answer. They probably could have cut golf. If we were to decide, like, if it wasn't going to be rugby, it was going to be golf because I think golf significantly is more expensive than people think. Granted, there's less players on the team. I think
it's expensive. All right.
Like it's there's 10 players on the golf team, maybe 12.
Sounds about right.
10 to 12. There's 10 to 12 players, but they got a lot more of a travel schedule than the rugby team.
And obviously golf equipment's way more
absolutely
expensive.
Well, yeah, but I assume maybe some players get some clubs, but I think most of them use their own clubs,
probably.
Especially in a ritual sport like golf. It's like baseball. Players are gonna go with what works,
right?
And if they've got a club in their bag from high school and it's like half dented, but they can still hit it pretty well, they're gonna use it. They're not gonna use this brand new club fresh out of the packaging.
Right.
But golf has to travel a lot more. Quinnipiac, the farthest they went this year was Navy in Annapolis. They played 2 games in Annapolis this year. Golf, I think they've...
MAC tournaments in Florida.
The MAC tournaments in Florida. That's a significant overhead cost because you have to pay for 12 player tickets because I'm sure they don't send as much play. I'm sure they have a lighter travel team, but they got to send the coach. They got to send a trainer. They probably do send a trainer there.
Yeah,
and
then, if somebody gets hurt and you have to have more than 6, you have to have an alternate.
Exactly, and it's just I think there's more overhead cost for golf. So if it was strictly a financial decision, I would go with golf. But unfortunately, rugby just has a lot more scholarships than golf. There's just so much more spots, and I think that's probably the biggest factor that played into that.
Yeah, well, the tough thing about the golf team too, like you could say, oh, maybe let's cut women's track, maybe let's cut golf. Well, they're dominating the conference.
That's true.
So, like, how could you take away that competitive balance? Quinnipiac Rugby isn't dominating anything right now. True. Like, they haven't dominated in 10 years.
Yeah.
So, like, yes, you have the factor, maybe you want to cut that sport. I mean, field hockey just moved from the MAC or the the Big East to the NEC. So they made that decision as well, which we were on the show. We talked about that. That's also a financial decision. You play lesser quality teams. You travel less. You don't go as far. So that's a big thing. And you also don't have to bring in as many maybe talented players. The transfer portal is a little weaker for you when you bring in these players because you're playing the NEC now. So, there's a financial decision there as well. So I don't know what sport you would cut in place of rugby. It's so tough to make that decision in the first place.
Right. Exactly. I totally agree. I think it's, to your point, Spenny, about the players in rugby.
I mean, you look at tennis too. Like, that's a not as expensive sport, but they're also dominating the conference. Like, you can't just take you can't just take a sport away.
They're dominating the conference, whereas rugby was dominating on a national level, and they have had some of the best players in the country in the past decade.
That's true, and they got the most national champions. They got the most national championships in the school's history. Technically, they're not NCAA championships, but they're close. They're
national.
They're national champions.
Yeah,
and we talk. One of the most relevant sports figures of the past couple years, especially a women's sports person, in Alona Mar.
Right.
She's from here. Now, you can go over is she been in contact with the school and all that, but she's still a huge figurehead, and to have that be put on blast for a national audience that probably doesn't even know what Quinnipiac is, it's not a good look. It's a very black eye.
Yeah. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about Alona Mar and what she did on Instagram with who we're assuming was.
I think it could have been a coach. It could have been someone else that she was affiliated with the university. I don't think speculation's the best thing to talk about right now. But when you have
it had to be one of the coaches.
It had to be someone with the university, I would definitely say. But that's not a good look, especially when they're talking about getting rid of kids' scholarships. I mean, we all go here. It's a decent price point to go here. It's not cheap, but some of those kids really need that. They really need rugby to escape. And I think in the text message they talked about there's a couple players don't have families, so this was their family.
Yeah. I think in one of the I don't know if it was now it is a misconception, was that players weren't going to get their scholarships back. And, that I think in itself, with being on Alona Mar's story, Alona Mar has 5.4 million followers who saw that. And now they're not going to follow up on this as, who now we know the players are getting their scholarships. The freshmen coming in next year will be awarded those scholarships if they still come here. But, a lot of those people aren't going to know that or see that. It's just going to be Quinnipiac, and that's what's in their mind is what they saw on Alona Mar's story. So that's another.
Yeah, I mean, she has every right to be upset.
Absolutely.
100%.
It's ridiculous, to be honest. Like she was. I remember watching the ESPN Women's College Basketball Tournament. She's on the celebrity show. She's that popular of a figure, and then they just cut her from the history of this team. The record book will have her name there forever. I mean, it's not going to change that. But now, 10 years down the line, nobody's going to know this program probably. I think it sucks that that's the case.
Yeah, I think that it's really a shame, because I thought the NIRA was stepping in the right direction. They had a couple new teams this year. They had LaSalle that started up. Lindenwood was really good. It was their second season. So there's still competitive talent. Women's rugby is growing. Rugby in general is growing in the United States. But, cutting a program this sudden and this close to transfer deadlines, especially for regular students, really not a good look.
Yeah.
And if those players want to leave to go to other programs, they have to do it fast. And I mean, I don't know when the portal opens up for sevens, because sevens is going on right now. It's not it's not covered, but it's still rugby sevens, and it's still an important part of their season. So we'll see what happens, but I expect a lot of players to leave soon.
Yeah. I feel the timing is weird.
It is really weird.
I think that's one of the, besides the team getting
it's the spring, man. It's almost, school's almost over.
Yeah, no.
We have literally 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, you make the decision in the winter, that makes sense. Obviously does it make sense for us to take away rugby? No, but it makes sense to make the decision at that
Right.
time. Now you make it 4 months later. The rugby season ended when? October?
No, like the first weekend in November.
So
But, yeah.
So yeah, basically
6 months later, after the season's over, you're making the decision to cut the program. Like, it just puts everybody in a weird place. Like,
Yeah.
the track team's not going to be around until next year.
Yeah. And
So
then-
if you made the decision in the winter, you would have still had that layover. You would have gave the track team a chance to recruit, but now you're giving nobody a chance to do any type of recruiting in any aspect.
Yeah. And then it's just it's a really weird thing because we have had a coach in Becky Carlson. She's one of the longest tenured coaches here. She's been here 16 years. Well, she was going to be here 16 years in the fall, and she's got a young kid. It's really sad because she gave so much to this program.
I believe with Fabry retiring, she's the third longest tenured.
So
It's
yeah,
Rand.
Rand
Rand.
DaCosta.
DaCosta, and then
And Becky.
isn't the women's tennis coach?
I don't know if Paula's been here that long. She's been here a couple of years. It's in double
Okay.
digits. I don't think it's 15.
Okay,
But
but
Delaney's been here 12.
yeah,
So.
so right up there with some of the longest tenured coaches. I didn't know DaCosta was here that long.
I don't know how Dave Clark's been here, but it might be.
DaCosta-
Oh yeah, both.
DaCosta's
both
really
soccer
been here
coaches.
that long.
No, it's in the 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he's been here for a while. It's kind of people don't really realize that, but he's been here for a while.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think really kind of drives home how much passion Coach Carlson has for the program is her statement on NBCCT.
Yeah.
You saw that, right? You guys saw that, and so I want to read it because I think it's
Go ahead.
it's
Yeah,
damning.
absolutely.
In my opinion, it's a really
It's a strong statement.
it's a very
Yes.
strong statement. We built something from scratch, won 3 national championships, brought the university an Olympic medal. Forward-thinking leaders see the power of women's sports and support the space for it. Today, I'm afraid Quinnipiac is lacking those leaders, and it's truly crushing. That's a really bad statement for the university. That's a really if your coaches or former coaches now are going on the news and a prospective player is going on the news, it's not a good look.
Right.
And
And I think Quinnipiac had to, think about it and know that there was going to be some backlash. But do you think they expected this amount of backlash?
I think I'll step in real quick. This kind of reminds me of when Nico Harrison traded Luca. Not in that funny of an aspect, but
Right.
when Nico talked about after trading Luca, he's like, I knew Luca had this big of an impact on the Mavs. I didn't know how big it was.
Yeah.
And I think with Greg Amodio and the university making this decision, they knew that rugby had a big impact. They had no idea it was this big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This much backlash already just days after.
Right.
Is that I don't think anybody I didn't expect that. It was obviously it would be big, but the fact that it's gaining this much attention.
no, it's gained a lot of attention. I mean, we're in student media. We're lucky to get maybe 500 views on some of the work we do.
Somehow I got 40,000 with John Delaney talking about the strike zone.
Well,
So,
that's also
pretty
extremely
good.
relevant because college doesn't have some of the modern technology that
Right.
professional baseball does. So, talking balls and strikes in this time
can't tap your head in college.
yeah, talking about balls and strikes in this time and era, it's still important in college. So that's a relevant topic, but let's be real here. It's college rugby.
Right.
We're not talking college football. We're not talking college baseball.
Right.
So to get over 10,000 views and more discussions about it, and more people weighing in from the local areas, even SNY.
Yeah.
So it's a big area story.
Bigger story than
Then-
I think people thought it would be.
But I also think that's probably why they took 6 months to announce it, because they probably did factor in that. Well, we have a very outspoken alumni. Do we really do we want to do this now, or do we do this later in the year? And I think they just
Yeah.
maybe sat on it for a little bit.
I would have just did nothing. I don't see why you had to make this decision. I understand financial, but how much money are you really going to save?
That's what we were talking about before.
Are you going to save a couple $1,000s, and you're really
It's-
going to make that decision?
Like
It-
you said it, rugby is not that expensive to maintain. I mean,
You-
in the field is probably the most expensive part of rugby.
Yeah,
But they're not getting rid of it. They still
No.
need it for
They
the
don't-
club
they-
teams.
they don't
I think those
they don't even
poll-
maintain, they don't even maintain that
those-
field that well.
Those
Yeah.
those polls have been up there for at least I mean, they look like they've been up there for at least a couple, maybe a decade.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Maybe they got new poles when they won a championship.
maybe they did. Maybe but still, that's a decade ago, and it's weird because you need to play rugby. You don't really even need the poles to play rugby. I mean, they're needed, but you need.
Well, what's Quinnipiac's expenses? If the university in athletics gets everything for them, it's cleats, jerseys.
There's no
and
way
balls.
that the difference between subtracting and adding this program is in 5 figures. It has to be like lower than 5.
Yeah, no,
It
because
has to be.
And like if it's that much,
has
like
to
if you're in that much of a problem in an aggregate progression that you have to make that decision, then I'm concerned for the university.
Yeah.
Look at Spence, big math words. But I completely agree. They just need jerseys, which is a shirt and shorts, cleats, which most of those players probably just bring their own. They don't.
And doesn't the acro team use the rugby jerseys?
I don't believe so.
No,
They do look similar.
they do look similar.
See,
but
I thought I saw something where they have the same jerseys.
So the
That'd
acro
that would be kind of crazy.
that'd be insane
I think
if
they
they
do.
were forcing the teams to use the same jerseys. Like we're not in the 1950s. That's crazy.
Well, you got to change the sizes too.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
what
I mean,
yeah, it's-
some of the rugby players are at least over 6 feet tall, at least 200 pounds. They're very, very muscular
Right.
players, and no offense to some of the acro players, they all got
a
muscle.
little
too.
different in size.
They're a little bit
Little
different
bit
in
different,
size
yeah,
because for acro you need to transition a lot of the games. There's flyers, there's people who do flips. Like you need to be light and.
Right.
Rugby is just a different athleticism.
Yeah. Now, I want to talk about the petition because there's been we've talked about the lashback.
Yeah.
It's been 3 days. This came out Tuesday. This is Thursday. Petition's already up to 14,815 signatures. Now, petition obviously is to reinstate Quinnipiac as a Division-I. Quinnipiac Rugby is a Division-I sport. It was started by former Quinnipiac head coach Colleen Doherty. Now, I want to ask, do you see this petition possibly making an impact, or is it too far go?
I don't think any petition in the world makes any impact.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
But
In
it's a just it's right to make the petition. But
No.
like if the petition gets 100,000 signatures, I think the university will be like, yeah, we don't care.
Cool. Unless there's significant financial backing, I don't see this
Yeah.
petition really making a statement. I think you see that a lot. Like anybody can make a petition,
Right.
but
Yeah.
not anybody can make a significant donation to the school to incentivize keeping rugby. It's a sad thing to say, but it's a realistic outlook on what's going to happen. It's great to see that there was actually so much support, but unfortunately, we never saw that at the field. The only
I think
Yeah.
that was something I saw as well, that like somebody made a comment on a post regarding it, and they were like, well, like the backlash is right, but if you're this mad, then why weren't you at the games?
Yeah.
yeah.
Why weren't you showing up? Why weren't you supporting the team? And then when the team is gone, you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
what are we? That's you guys are terrible. Well, you never showed up to the games.
You see that a lot in professional sports, especially when teams move.
Yeah.
Like
When the Arizona Coyotes moved, I think like the fans were there, but like they were playing at the Arizona State Sun Devils ice arena when they were moving because, I mean, it's the relocation is really good. To compare, I think it's really good.
No, it's like that, and to Spencer's
'Cause,
point with Phoenix,
essentially they are relocating.
Yeah,
It's just
no.
to a different
to
different
the club.
place. Yeah.
And to Spencer's point about Phoenix, the fans didn't show. Is that down to franchise incompetence? Yeah, of course. They had a really bad stretch of bad owners, and it's tough to make a sport like hockey work in the desert. Do I think Arizona is a good market if you put the best owner possible there? Sure. Any sports market can be a good sports market if you have the right people there. Unfortunately, they didn't, because hockey didn't have an outlook as when the Coyotes started. But now one of the best American players is from a southern state in Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
So I think you needed time there. And to get back to rugby, it's just, again, they didn't show. the most people I've seen at a rugby game consistently are the parents. No student cares. Now, granted, are those games at 12 on a Saturday? Sure. Like, maybe they're one on a Saturday, but you can still show up. It's a university. There's a lot of stuff else going on, a lot of other stuff people can spend their time on. But if there's this many signatures, I would want to know if they actually showed up to a game before, because unfortunately, I think that maybe 5,000 of those signatures have never been to a game, and maybe a couple more have never even been to the university. And this culture surrounding rugby is good, just the fans don't show. The most I saw was for an athletics required event with SAAC. That's the most amount of people I've seen at a rugby game. Yeah. My entire time here. Yeah. And it's sad.
Fair points.
But it's fair.
It is fair. Now, we've kind of danced around it, but I think we can talk about it a little more from athletics' point of view. Cutting rugby as a Division-I sport, making it club, and bringing in a men's distance running team.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Supposedly track and field, men's track and field.
They didn't label it as that, which is like, I don't know if they just, it doesn't make any sense if it's what I explained based off the details they provided. It like to add track and field, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe if you want to watch sports, put one down, add one up, but you didn't even add a sport.
Yeah.
You didn't add a sport.
True.
I mean, maybe on Go Bobcats it'll say men's distance running, but that's not a sport. Like,
No.
Track and field is a sport. That's a team sport.
Yeah.
That's not a team. Okay? Men's distance, if you're going to race 4 events, it's not a team. You're basically like putting your team as Quinnipiac into an event as like individual, like you're racing by yourself. Like, they're not going to count towards the MAC championships.
Right.
So you essentially dropped the sport and didn't add one. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Back to you.
No, I just like from athletics perspective, what is the I don't even know how to word it.
Incentive?
Yeah, like what are the pros coming out of this besides saving money?
I mean,
Because
we talked
how much
about,
money are you really saving?
I feel like you're saving a month's paycheck. Really, you're maybe saving like a good month's paycheck is maybe $3,000 in this day and age. Seems like we're like saving that over a couple months. It's.
I hope I don't make $3,000 a month. I really don't.
Hey, what? Who's good at math here? I'm not good at math.
36,000 a year. It's not enough.
Nowhere near enough.
Yeah, no, that's
You can't live off that.
no. Yeah, I mean, maybe if you lived at home, but again, it's. I don't know the incentive. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a mind reader. I'm not telekinetic. I can't get into Greg Amodio's head. But if you're gonna make a financial decision, it doesn't seem like that. And
My only thing is, they talked about the Title IX and that being the real driver of this.
yeah,
Why they made that decision. But was anyone concerned about that? Like, I don't think that was ever, a huge talking point is,
You still didn't balance the weight. You didn't add a sport.
yeah.
It's not a sport.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, if you want to align with your values and then add men's track and field, yeah, that's fine. You didn't do that. Okay, you didn't do that. So you took away a sport, and you added. I don't even know what it is. Like, it's not a team. So you screwed over a program and you added nothing.
They really did. And again, we talked about the 60-40 of the school, and maybe I think that's where that Title IX objectives were put in.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things with Title IX that really, there's a lot of loopholes that we've seen. And I guess since there's been a shift in the demographics of the university, they were like, well, we're under the threshold. What can we get to the threshold? Well, we already have a bunch of our distance runners here. Maybe we can bring in a couple extra for the spring season, have a bigger cross-country team. and we'll shift that, and we'll get to the 60-40 threshold.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but that's where I think the Title IX is. But obviously, I'm not in those meetings. I don't have the statistics in front of me. But if they were going to say it's a Title IX thing, I think it's due to just the university having more of a balanced ratio than it did in the past.
Right. Now, what are the next steps for rugby in the organization as far as athletes go and them trying to find a new spot if they want to play at the Division-I level, or, just the team as a – because there's still a spot for them to play. It's just not at the same level.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you talk about the transfer portal. I don't know how that works, but I'm assuming you can get an extra year eligibility now based off that if you wanted to transfer to a school. But again, it falls under the NIRA. I think you still get NCAA eligibility rules. I could be wrong about that. So it just puts the athletes in such a tough spot. I don't know how long they might have known about this. It probably wasn't very long.
I was told they found out at the same time everybody else found out.
Which is that's just another tactless move done by the university.
Yeah. Maybe head coach Becky Carlson knew, but I'm assuming she would have told her players, so I don't think that's the case.
I don't think
her and her players are like this.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
They're one cohesive unit, so it'd be completely out of her character to not tell her players.
Yeah.
So I think maybe Carlson got told maybe 30 minutes before that press release came out, and she just didn't have time to get to her players. But for the next steps, I hope Carlson is able to find a new job. I mean, she's a great coach. She's built this program to really good heights, a 3-time national champion. I think any team in the NRA would be stupid if they had an opening to not hire her. She's a program builder. She's made one of the more solid programs in the NRA with probably not as many resources as some other schools have. And for the players, there's still NRA programs. I think Queens will be. I think Queens may stay, because Queens as a university is combining with Elon, so that could be another interesting thing. I wonder if, Elon will take over Queens' place in the NRA, or they just cease to exist.
Are they going to call it Quilon? That'd be kind of funny.
I think it's just going to be like Elon in Queens, North Carolina.
That sounds really weird.
Elon Charlotte, because Queens is in Charlotte, North Carolina, so it'll probably just be Elon Charlotte.
Yeah.
But the Mount St. Mary's has a program. Army. You can't really get into a service academy, but
there's places to go for sure.
Places to go.
It's just timing wise, is it realistic to get there and play? Probably.
Most players will probably either, if they want to transfer out, they'll probably have to take a semester off because, getting into the schools is going to be difficult. Student athletes have ways to get around them, but getting in the transfer credits in this short of a time is going to be very difficult for these players.
Yeah,
because they're student athletes. They have to get these credits to be here,
right?
Or to play. And if they don't have them, they don't have them, and they can't transfer in, and it's a shame.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
That's that.
I don't. It's a shame.
It's a shame. Yeah. It's a weird spot.
Yeah.
It's weird timing. Somewhat. I feel a little, unnecessary, because I don't see the benefit or what you really gain from it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you put a men's track and field team, then okay.
I understand.
But if we find out details about that, and maybe they add that down the line, and it just takes them a year to get the program up, then maybe it makes sense. But right now, it makes zero sense.
It really does. It really doesn't. And you put 30 kids who gave, a year to 4 years to a program, and we've had great internationals in the past. We only have one this year, but as an international athlete, what do? You came to this school specifically to play, and now you can't. Yeah. And you either have to go back or find another home that will take you in, and that's going to be very difficult, because there's so much legal loopholes to even get to an American university if you're an international.
Right.
So you feel for the players and you feel for the staff. It's like you said, it's a shame, but it's such a weird time for this to come out. So
weird time. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I thank you, gentlemen, for coming on.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Great show.
Sharing good to talk about it. It's an important topic.
It is an important topic, and one that we shouldn't, as student media, have to shy away from. So,
absolutely.
Definitely important topic. Hopefully more developments, like Spencer said, maybe that distance running will eventually become track and field. We'll see. Shout out Goodness, doing all the producing, doing all the hard work for us, making it happen back there. And thank you guys for watching episode 19. Have an amazing week. Peace.